many stories that any one of you could share on how you persevered to earn your degree. We are also eager to see where you go from here and what you do with your certificates and degrees earned at Pima. Tonight, one of your classmates is going to share her story, and it is my pleasure to introduce her at this time. Nicole Werner is graduating with an Associate of Arts, Liberal Arts, Psychology concentration, and an Arizona General Education Curriculum Arts certification. This fall, she will transfer to the University of Arizona, where she has been accepted into the Honors College to continue her studies in psychology. Nicole is a happily married, full-time mother of 4 children. Her oldest child is currently attending Pima Community College. Nicole enjoys writing in her spare time and has recently had 2 pieces of her poetry published in our nationally recognized and award-winning school publication, Sanskrit. Please help me welcome your student speaker, Nicole Werner.
Because the machine will try to grind you into dust anyway, whether or not we speak. We can sit in our corners mute forever while our sisters and ourselves are wasted, while our children are distorted and destroyed, while our earth is poisoned. We can sit in our safe corners mute as bottles, and we will still be no less afraid. Audre Lorde is a poet and an activist, and she spoke those words about something she called the transformation of silence into language and action. Tonight, I want to talk about community, and I want to talk about diversity in our community and how that translates into action and involvement. Because there's a lot going on in our country right now, right? And I feel like it can be really overwhelming. A lot of the stories that we hear on the news leave us feeling isolated, divided, arguing one side or the other, and for good reason. There are things going on right now that are impacting our day-to-day lives and our futures. Like all of you out there, I fought hard to be here, but I didn't do it alone. Growing up, there were times where we were pretty poor, and my mom, I love my mom. I wish that she could have lived to be here tonight. You know, my mom was the first person in her family to graduate high school, and I could just picture her face if she were here tonight. Anyway, suffered from severe and debilitating mental illness. She had what they called back then multiple personality disorder. She battled with substance abuse issues throughout her life and was left physically and mentally disabled after being struck by a car when I was 10. Now, there are a lot of people out there that can and do take advantage of families and kids in those types of situations, but that's not what I want to talk about tonight. It's not what I like to remember, because there's a whole lot more people out there that share what they have. And I'm going to come back to the sharing part in just a little bit. Now, these people, I can't really fit them all into one category because it's more like a feeling. It's in the memory of a hand-me-down coat during a cold East Coast winter that gave me a feeling of warmth and security, or Miss Mabel down the block who taught me how to braid my hair when I was 5 or 6. From her warm and calloused hands flowed some of my first lessons in self-care. I remember the smell of fried plantains in the kitchen when Miss Lisa in the apartment downstairs taught me how to make tostones. The ingredients are so simple and affordable, but the independence and self-sufficiency I felt at 8 years old, being able to cook for my mom and myself, was priceless. You know, I pulled a chair up to the stove and I made them like every day for a week straight, and we got really sick eating nothing but plantains for a week. But looking back, it's still a good memory, and what a gift that was. My neighbors were my friends, and they helped to raise me. They shared their kindness, their culture, anything and everything they had, with a little girl whose mom was widely known as the crazy one on the block. I wouldn't be here without them, and so many others. You see, the reason why I'm telling you all this is because I want you to know. I need you to understand that everything you are is a gift, just waiting to be shared with someone else. To me, that's diversity in action. Diversity is the gift of living and celebrating that life simply by sharing it with others. It's so powerful. And now, here I am with you, all of you. We did it. We hit this milestone. And I want you to consider what you might do now that you have all of this potential within you. You might ask yourself, how can I make a change? There's so much going on in the world. There's so much going on in this country. We're all so divided. That's a thing. We don't have to be. Diversity. It's what unifies us as one people of one race, the only race, the human race. One that can't be divided by man-made barriers, lines drawn in the sand, or walls built in the desert. We can't be divided by reducing our identities into neatly organized and separated boxes to be checked off, labeled male and female, gay and straight, citizen and non, Black and Hispanic and Native and Asian and white, and my all-time favorite, other. Because if you don't fit neatly into one of these man-made definitions of race, they've got a box for that too. Race as we know it is a man-made concept. It's not tangible, which literally means it's not able to be touched. If you close your eyes, you cannot feel the color of someone else's skin. But, thank you. But culture, that's a whole different thing, right? Because we can feel it and hear it and taste it and touch it and smell it. It's meant to be shared. And we must not allow ourselves to become victims of this political climate. We should not segregate ourselves into these neatly organized boxes, set out and labeled with our differences that keep us from sharing our gifts with one another. Class of 2019, this is not just a graduation, but a promotion to a higher level of responsibility within our society. We have an obligation to advocate for those who have had their voices silenced. We must never forget the power that we hold as a people of this nation. So I say, if we want change, we have to make it happen. We have to be kind. We might never know whose life we're changing or even saving. We have to volunteer. We have to give back to our communities. We have to go out and vote. Don't like what's going on in politics? Forget about writing your local representative. Run for office and be the representative. By coming together and getting involved, we can change the very face of power itself, because we are the people. Now let's stop focusing on our differences and stop letting ourselves be divided into these categories that keep us weak. We the people have the capability to affect change in our communities, in our cities, in our states, and in our nation. It's in the way that we share our cultural traditions and natural talents. Let's celebrate life with each other, because it's only when we love each other that we have the power to change this world. Class of 2019, it's one thing for me to just stand up here and talk, but could you help me out so we could actually show everybody here what we're all about at Pima in Tucson, Southern Arizona? Can you guys stand up for me? Thank you. Thank you. Stay standing for just a minute, because I want to say this about our class. Tonight, we stand united through common experience. We stand peacefully as a powerful example of diversity in action, because we are the positive change, because we are making Tucson the city where people are part of the community, regardless of their nation of origin, regardless of whom they love, regardless of how or if they worship, regardless of their income. We're making Southern Arizona ground zero for positive change in this country. Congratulations.
Thank you, Nicole, for those wonderful